Yes, and we're back with the Celtic Unrestricted View. My name is Ryan Clifford, and I'm back with my good man, Alan. JP's at night after night. He's been working hard this week, so I'm back for Skiving as well. So, no, Alan, looking forward to tonight again. Kind of a wee bit different, obviously, time-wise. We're at 7:30 tonight, a wee bit late due to technical difficulties, but instead of tomorrow, so we're on tonight, due to, obviously, the weekend, a few things are happening, so we're on tonight, me and Alan. Really just a bit different, I think, for last night. I know JP touched a bit of bases last night about the transfers and stuff, but this is really about kind of me and Alan's opinions on what we think. It might be different to what JP was saying. It could be different to what a lot of fans are saying. So a few things I want to put across. What's the panic, Alan? Will we strengthen more? That's the topic tonight. How are you, mate? And how's your feeling so far of the window at Celtic Park?
Aye, very well. Hope you're well yourself. Aye, it's kind of split in opinion at the minute. The way the window's sitting at present, I think it's very underwhelming. But we've still got 6 days left. 6 days, I think, in it. 6 days left in the window. So a lot can change during the days. Here's hope we can add that quality that Brendan's been speaking about, but at the minute, kind of one side of it is pretty underwhelming. So, I think the opinions split across the fan base, but I think we should probably be aiming higher than what we're receiving at present. It's if we're going to go and kind of take the other two trophies that are available to us this season, I think we need to make that kind of final push, especially with bringing a few players in so that we're more than covered in all the areas that are needed.
Well, a comment, Anjem says, evening Ryan and Alan, hope you're all well. Ange, hope you're well, Anjem. Plunges on as well. He's also said evening, so he's said to evening Ange, so we'll wait till he says evening to me and you, Alan. No, Plunge, thanks a lot, mate, for tuning again. Evening, Mark McDonald, how are you, mate? Hope you're well. And Be Fast JD, evening people, surely we can't be happy with the transfer window currently. Well, that is really kind of the topic we're on tonight, but it's more in terms of what you think in the comments. If there's anything you think that needs to be chatted about, then fire in, let us know. We'll happily discuss that and debate if possible, because we've all got different opinions, and I think JP said that last night, and we've all got different opinions. We're not always wrong, we're not always right. It's just a democracy, as he called it last night. It's just we've all got opinions about certain players, certain transfers, certain board members, certain this, certain that. We've all got different opinions. But for me, Alan, I'll probably just say my bit on it right now, what I feel about the now. I can totally get the frustration that we've only got one player in. The manager did mention quality. He did mention it again today that he's been talking about it, because that's the way he works. He wants to buy quality players, and every club he's at, and especially Celtic, he wants quality players, which that's what we all want. We all want the best at Celtic. We want to spend a bit of money, but you've got to get the recruitment right. It's not all about spending money. It's about spending the money wisely on the correct players that either suit your system, suit the way you want to play, or suit what the manager feels that that you can bring. I can get the frustration, Alan, because one signing, when he did talk about maybe 3 or 4 players, we all know that a goalkeeper for the summer is 100% going to happen. Ideally, a left back, a striker between the now and the end of the window would be ideal. At least one of them, if possible. If you don't get the two of them, 100%, I would say in the summer, they 3 have got to be the main positions that you need to get. The reason why I've put what's the panic, because I feel, again, just on social media, I get the frustration, but I don't get some of the panic as in we're maybe going to lose the league, or it's in the balance. I get the frustration that you want to add to help the team and add to the quality you've got. I get that, right? But to me, Alan, just because we don't sign anybody, maybe one more, maybe say sign one more, because you've not got everybody that you maybe want, you've still got this team here. You've still got the quality players in this team. You've still got an elite manager. You've still got a winning mentality squad of players who've already won the first 2 derbies of the season. So I want to be dead quick to go, right, if we don't get anybody else in, that's us. That's us not going to win the league because we've no added to the squad. It will enhance us, but it's not going to make us worse. I get the fact maybe the injuries. If we don't get a striker or a left back, do we rely on Bernabei? Do we need to rely on is Vata going to step up to be the third or fourth choice striker? Who knows? For me, I'm no panicking, Ali. I'm frustrated, but I'm no panicking. But I think panic would be if we were sitting second, we were behind, and we've nobody to come in yet. Then I'd go, right, okay. But I get the spin on it, Aaron. You need to strengthen when you're at a power of strength. You need to strengthen when you're ahead, and you need to strengthen when you've got the bank balance that we've got. I get that, right? But to just go and put a scenario across it, Bernabei, right? I thought it was going to be a good signing. I thought it would go with the left back. It's turned out it's not going to be. Plunge, if you actually listen to John Hughes yesterday on the Celtic podcast, John Hughes says Brendan Rodgers is an elite manager. That's good enough for me. If somebody of John Hughes' stature is going to say that he's an elite manager, then I'll take that all day long. In my opinion, an elite manager depends what you feel is an elite manager. For me, Brendan Rodgers is an elite manager. The way he coaches, the way his man management is, the way he's order about him. To me, he's just a man manager who's elite, and that's my opinion on him. Again, Plunge, it's all about opinions. We've all got different opinions on the manager, so a lot of people didn't want him to be here to start off with, and I doubt that will change. No matter what he does, it's not going to change your opinion. Kovo, I'm the same. I think he's a quality manager. For what he's done in his career, he's a fantastic manager. He might know about the best of picking players, but that's up to your recruitment team to do that as well. It's not just all on the manager. But for me, Aaron, I don't want to panic just yet. I think it's frustration more than anything else. But some of the comments about that if we don't add to it, we're going to lose the league, or we're maybe bargaining and losing the league. I don't get that just yet, because I will criticise or praise when it comes to it when the end of the window. You've still got a few days to go. They could come up with 2 or 3 belters at the end of the window. They might, who knows? I don't know. I'm not in the boardroom. People, I know JP's mentioned about it, that he doesn't want to get, ideally, a loan player in. I get that, but see if you can get a quality loan player in. But in the past, we've had Bellamy's, we've had Keane's. Who knows? You could get something like that again. I'm not saying ideally you want that, Aaron, but I think that's maybe the way of getting maybe that Rodgers wants quality, because are you really going to go and get a £10 million striker in January? I don't know. I doubt it, because guys are still maybe want to play for Euros or want to get into their teams. Their team might be trying for trophies, etc. as well. So don't be fair, Aaron. But for me, on my basis, mate, it's don't panic. Just wait to the end of the window. Then if you need to praise or criticise, do it then. Then we'll maybe assess at the end of the window. But for me, Aaron, it's just hopefully behind the scenes there's a bit of talking going on, which I think will be happening. I think people think the board just sit there watching Blue Peter with Blue the Bands. That's not the case. To manage a club at Celtic, you need to work every day to keep going and keep going and keep going. So don't be feeling that, mate. But for me, it's just frustration more than anything else.
I'm on the fence at present. I was the same as you maybe a few days ago. It was just more frustration. But I think there's panic starting to kind of arise, shall we say. I think if we don't think this is kind of close to title race, I think we've got our heads in the sand. It's basically 2 points. They've got a home game against St Johnstone. It's their game in hand. That's the closest it's been for a while, and I think we need to make sure that we're winning this league title. We're still definitely favourites. I still consider us the better side, but this is closer than what we would like, to be fair, especially when we had that kind of 8-9 point gap with the game's level, when they had their change, their transition with a manager change. So it's no comfortable at the minute. I'd like it to be more comfortable, and I think that's where a lot of the panic's kind of stemming from. I think a lot of the fans are seeing that it's close in the league kind of table at present, and we'd expect to kind of push on with the bank balance that we've got. We just need to kind of see how the next few days play out. I'm not massively confident about the recruitment team, as I've said to you. I think we look at the last kind of few transfer windows, and I think there's been more kind of failings than people succeeding. So it's worrying as well with Brendan's interview today. Where Brendan says that he's had kind of number of players that he could have took on, but he's looking for quality. So the recruitment team have got all this time since the last window. What kind of players is it that Brendan's been presented with if he's knocked them back? Is it players up to the standard that he's looking for? Is it kind of substandard players for the quality that he's asking for? We'll never know that, but at present, if he's saying he's rejected players and he's still looking for quality, then we should be maybe taking it off of the board and maybe looking at the recruitment team. Are we looking at the right places in the football world? Are we looking at the right players? Has Brendan been offered the right players by the recruitment team? Because they're obviously picking them out. And at present, you're looking at a kind of summer transfer window as well. There's very little you would take out of that. Palmer, I know. I'm not going to say that Bernardo and Narowski are successes at the minute. I'll leave that for a kind of prolonged period of time because, see, apart from these last 4 games, Brendan didn't trust these guys to come in and kind of be regular starters before the 4 games. So we're hoping that these guys kind of kick on. We're hoping that these guys kind of show the exceptional performances that they've had in the last kind of few games. But that's no fact. Like we need to see that for a kind of prolonged period. And at the minute, these guys weren't good enough for Brendan. Kind of September, October time. Even when Lurowski came back for his injury, he wasn't getting any kind of game time or kind of even in the squad. So at the minute, it's positive with the 2 players with regards to kind of Lurowski and Bernardo. They've been exceptional the last few games. You look at Palmer, but after that, you're kind of struggling. You're struggling to see anybody who have brought in out of 9 or 10 players. There is players that have contributed slightly at home. Sure, you're looking at Tellio. I know.
There's a few players.
I know, but that's what I mean. So I'm trying to look at it in a positive kind of turn, but the last few transfer windows, it's not been the best whatsoever. As we've said a good few times on the podcast, when you're looking at the majority of starting first 11, these are players that have been kind of bought kind of before the last 3 transfer windows. The majority of this team and most of the squad are players that are getting game time have been brought in before the last few transfer windows. So I would like to hope that we've got a few players there we can sign before the window closes to give that added bit of quality and that added strength for coming into the kind of second half of the season. But I'm slightly sceptical at present. It's starting to get concerning. I wouldn't full on say panic, but it's starting to get slightly concerning, and that's my kind of opinion on regards to that.
I think for me, Alan, I can totally get the frustration from fans. Like I says, I'm not going to sit here and tell fans not to panic. I'm not going to sit here and tell fans to panic or whatever. I'm not going to tell fans what to do. That's not up to me to say that. So, but it's just in my opinion. I've seen some comments on social media, and it's like this. It's like this team. It's like we've not got a good team here. Some of the comments I've seen, it's like we're gambling in the league and this and that, right? I get what they're saying, right? But on the other foot is, why would, see if the manager doesn't, see if there's no a quality player that he thinks. I've seen a lot of people, some of the comments as well, some on social media and in my own group chats, blaming the board, right? One thing I'll say here is that I'm not happy, what people like to call a happy clapper, right? If the board does something ridiculous or the board are not doing something right, we've said it on here before, we've criticised them in the full summer about what happened, criticised them during the 10 season, whatever, we've criticised them. Peter Lawwell is no going out scouting players. Peter Lawwell is not the one footing through a laptop or looking through YouTube. Oh, he looks good. It's a recruitment team and the manager. Like you've just said, Aaron, it's more to do with the recruitment team and the manager, no, obviously deciding that they're good enough to play with Celtic, or like you say, the recruitment staff's putting poor players up to the manager, he's gone, well, that's not what I want, that's not what I'm asking for, go back and do more. The board deal with the money. The board go, right, say I'm Rodgers, Aaron, right, and you're part of the scouting team, the scouting recruitment staff, right? And I say to you, right, Gaffer, right, I want this player, right, and you go, right, okay, go and look him up, come back to me, right, right, him, what do you think? It looks decent. How much? Oh, I don't know. You're right to say to the board, right? So go to the board, right, and say, he's worth £3 million, right? You go to the board and say, Lowell, Nicholson, Chris Mackay, McCart, whoever it is. Right, guys, on you go. It's Mackay, isn't it? Sorry. McCart was the coach. Right, £3 million. If that's how much he is he worth £3 million? As a value to the manager, do you think he's £3 million worth? Because the board are only giving me money. So the board will go, well, if he's not £3 million worth, why spend £3 million? But then you might get a better player that's maybe £2 million with better value. The board are the money men. The board are only going out and sitting packing players. That's why you've got a big strand, a recruitment team. That's why you've got all sorts of scouts all around the world to go and get you look at players. The board deal with the running of the football club. Maybe Peter Lawwell was involved a while ago, but Neil Lennon said that. I can't say that categorically. It might look like that. But I genuinely don't think Brendan Rodgers is a yes man. I think if this was happening this time, he'd be like, listen, I'm off. I don't care if it's in a 3-year contract. He's already said that he's got the final say of the players. So you've got to trust the manager and what he's saying. You've just got to go with that. I do not believe that the board, Nicholson, Lawwell, are sitting behind a computer going, he looks good, let's sign him. I really don't think so, Alan. Again, people might think if I'm naive, if I'm blind. I'm not saying Peter Lawwell is no in part of maybe helping manager in terms of the money side of it. Listen, right, Rodgers, right, he's £3 million, Pedro. Right, okay. But does his profile suit the model of the club? Is he good enough to make his money? Is he good enough to impact the team? Is that £3 million going to be worthwhile? Because look at Burnaby. £3 million, £3.5 million at Burnaby, spunked. So do you want to go down that same route again, or do you want to make sure that you've got the right player that's going to be quality? I'm frustrated that they're not getting players right, but I would rather only sign one player that could potentially make an impact than go and sign 2 or 3 players that are just going to come in and just pick up wages. I don't know what you feel, Alan, but I get the frustration, but you've got to balance it out. Do you go and spunk £5 million in a left back who could be a £3 million a left back with ball and golly? We've spent £10 million in left backs and not once took care of Greg Taylor. And I'm not saying Greg Taylor's a bad player. I know people might think I think he is. He's a good player. But for us to go forward as a club, if we can't buy a better left back than Greg Taylor, the recruitment team needs sacked. I can go and look at a game either abroad or I was in Tenerife, and I think I said to you, there was a right mid. I think his name's Hassan. Only 21, he starts on the great, but for what I've seen for the boy, he was quick, he was nippy, he gave the left back an absolute trouncing.
He was on loan for Villarreal.
That's it. I was like, right, we could get him. He's only in the second division La Liga, but they're going for, obviously, promotion. But it doesn't take you to have qualifications to go, that boy's a player. So this is what I'm saying. It's all about what you think that, is that quality going to match your team as well? It's not all about the money side of it. It's about having to do your due diligence, do your research and do it properly. And if a manager feels that he's got to wait to maybe the last day of the window to get the quality that he wants, then so be it. But I'll criticise and I'll praise Alan at the end of the window when everything's done. There's, like you've said, there's 5-6 days to go. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday? So don't you feel on that, mate. But I get the frustration, but I just want to start panicking about league titles, I said, just yet.
I think if it still sits this way come the 1st of February, then I think there'll be kind of more heat coming for the Celtic fans. As I say, it is a closer title challenge than we've been used to for the last couple of years, I think. I think we can all see that. I know we've won the 2 games against the other side of the city, but we've dropped points when they've carried on winning against the other side. So we need to make sure, after seeing last night, you would probably view last night's game with Rangers and Hibs, you probably view that as one of the harder away grounds to visit. And it doesn't seem that way at present, so it looks as if with the quality and standard that we're playing against in the Scottish League that we will need to kind of win about 99% of the games that we've got left. Aye. But I can see the only way you can kind of blame the board is we don't know the ins and outs of the transfers. We don't know, but the only way that you can say about the board is there must be a kind of a finance bracket that the board's kind of telling the recruitment team that we need to shop in this market. Whether that be kind of £3, £5, £7 million, whether that be kind of £20,000, £30,000, £40,000 a week, that's the top end of the wages. We'll never know that. But the ambition may be shown by the board, by giving the recruitment team that kind of bracket of finance available. Maybe that's why we're not being able to source the kind of players that Brendan's looking for quality. We'll never know these kind of ins and outs. This is obviously behind closed doors. We'll not see what's happening with that regard. But that's the only way you can kind of blame the board. I don't think for a second that the board will be sitting there kind of picking players. But we're looking at rating Vata higher or low. We should be looking at they harm to both of them, right? We should be aiming higher than Vata I know at present as a backup striker for Kyogo. Because if what you say, Seth, Kyogo kind of his shoulder goes again, then we're left with kind of Vata or the kind of possibility of Maida or Abada playing through the middle. But you'd be looking for a kind of higher class, a kind of backup and competition for Kyogo. Because if you bring in a decent player, you've seen me kind of Giacomakis level, that pushes Kyogo as well. That kind of ups the performance levels that these guys are kind of bringing to the table. So it can only be positive. But as the window sits just now, if that was the case on the 1st of February that we're sitting here, we've brought one player in, I think there needs to be kind of questions answered because we're looking at a kind of high bounty that's at the prize at the end of the season, the highest that we've seen in Scottish football history. If we're looking, we've got the bank balance available to push the boat out, sign the other couple of players that kind of puts to bed that we should win this league. If we don't kind of spend any other money up until the 1st of February, I think there will be questions asked because it's probably because the fans know that we've got that finance available. We've got the power to go out and kind of push the boat out and spend that little bit extra that's going to no guarantee, but more or less kind of guarantee that we're going to go and kind of win that league. So it's concerning at present. I'm still hopeful that we'll make a few moves in the transfer market for now to the 1st of February. But it's hopeful. It's no confident at present. So I'm concerned at the minute, but I think it'll be full on panic for most of the Celtic fans if we don't sign anybody else come February 1st. I think it'll be pretty toxic, I think.
I can get that, Aaron. I can get it, mate, 100%. That if we don't get players in more than what... I think, see if you get a left back or a striker and the boy Kun is real quality and you've added 2 quality players to the team, you've got Maeda back fully fit, Abada fully fit, Atati fully fit, you've still got the options of Tumbo on the bench, Home on the bench, Awata on the bench, Nerowski, you've who and Margaret Belka, who you've paid good money for, so you expect them to do well. Carter Vickers fully fit, Scales fully fit, you've still got Welsh there, Ralston, Johnson, Bernabei isn't great, but listen, he's still part of the squad. You've got him and Taylor. Your midfield, you've got O'Reilly as well to add to that, McGregor as well. And it's probably more up. I think up front, Aaron's probably where you're absolutely probably needing massively. Because for me, I've said that I don't think Big O's going to cut the mustard. Be that due to not getting game time, or is it not being good enough? For me, I'm going to go with not being good enough. I can see he's got attributes, but we're not sure enough for Celtic just yet. I can't see it again in 6 months' time. If he scores 15 goals at the end of the season and has a stellar end of the season, I'll say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. But I just don't see it. It doesn't look an absolute predator goal scorer to me. For what I've seen, Rocco Vata, I think I've seen Plunge's comment. I think Plunge again, I think it's just because I think he was in the team against Bucky just to give him a bit of experience. Because we did mention that one or two young guys might play or get on the bench at least. The fact that he's maybe as it due to maybe they just want to show him, listen, if you stay here, we'll give you a contact. This is what you can potentially get. There is going to be a pathway for you, but I think his dad mentioned as well, there's going to be a pathway for him. So if he signs a new deal, then expect him to get some sort of game time or some sort of pathway very soon, because he wouldn't be signing a new deal if he didn't think that he was going to play here or get some sort of chance, because he could go abroad and chance his luck. I think his dad basically said he wants to go there, but he does want to beat Celtic, but there's not got a contract yet. So why would you want to stay here? If you can get offers elsewhere, then go. I want to be somewhere where I'm not wanted or I don't feel loved, because I think a lot of players are, and if it's Bata, if it's Kyogo, whoever it is, some players are like a boot in the box, a rollicking, and some players like to be cuddled and told, listen, you're the best, and that gets, and it seems to me that the manager knows that. Certain players, like he's took a bad out for dinner, he's always talked to O'Reilly as well after games, and he seems to be certain players he's maybe keeping them titting and keep talking to them. And again, for me, mate, I'll always stick by it. For me, the manager's a top-class manager. If we were, I don't know who you would get else to go into this job right now with the experience he's got and the know-how he's got, and maybe the only criticism I can say of Marlon, it might be his transfer business. Don't get me wrong, the ones that he spent big on, i.e. your Sinclairs, etc., they've worked 9 times out of 10. These big signings, your Ninjams, etc., they've all done relatively well. Nerofsky, he looks decent so far from what I've seen. He could potentially be one at working. Lagerbielke, no yet. That could be one you could say it's no worked just yet. But I can see the criticism, man, because I want the best players. I want us to go and spend money. I want us to improve and make sure you've got every animation. You go into the last 3 or 4 months of the season, 4 or 5 months of the season to go boom. Because I'll still stick by it. We've got the best manager. We've got the best squad. We should be blowing Scottish football out the water. We've got in our finances and we've got on the park as well. And I totally get what you're saying. It's closer than it should be. But in my opinion, people might think, is it biasy? Am I blinded? Or is it just confidence in what I've got in Celtic, what I know about these players and the manager? On and off the park, we're miles ahead. The people might think the league table might not show that. I get that. But in terms of the 2 derby games, I think we've shown that. We've shown it in the last how many years. So, in my opinion, yes, they've won a League Cup. Fair play. Like I've said, celebrate it. Enjoy it. You've earned it. You've won it. But they're still playing the same boring shit football. Last night, I didn't watch the game last night, right? So I can't comment. But by all accounts, Hibs were shocking. Didn't do nothing. They're sitting off range. I didn't see the game, but they've won the game by a few goals. So they've went to Hibs and won. So guaranteed they've got 3 points. And that's all you need to do is win. In title races, it's win football games. But for me, I believe in our squad. I believe in the manager. I believe we're still streets ahead. In the derby, the 2 derby games, we've stepped up when we have to. The best players, i.e. your McGregors, they step up when need be. They've got the same failures. You could get Guardiola to take care of them and they still struggle. You've got Tavernier. I think he's lost 22 games against Celtic or something like that. He's won, 2 trophies or something? He's been here, 2 or 3 trophies. How many years? Lundstrom, Jack, Barisic, Goldson. It's the same failures. For them to do anything to us, in my opinion, you need to change the players and you need to change your mentality. If you keep having the same players with the same mentality, you're never going to win football games, Aaron. And that's just my opinion.
No, I definitely believe that we are a better side. But you look at, I don't think the streets ahead. You look at down south. You look at Man City. I believe that their streets ahead of kind of Aston Villa, they're well ahead of Liverpool. But at present, Man City are sitting third in the league, aren't they? So these things happen. You need to make sure we're winning games. And at present, they're picking up nearly as much points as we are. So it is a title race. no matter, that's what I'm saying, it's probably going to come down to the Glasgow Derby games, because it looks like the majority of the games that both teams are playing that we're picking up kind of maximum points. So, mate, no doubt about it, it's going to come down to kind of 2 games depending on, and we need to make sure we're at top level for the 2 games. JP, it shouldn't be for the sake of it. We've had 6 months for this recruitment team to look at players that are good enough in quality. And as Ryan says, you can go out and look at quality. So there's a massive, massive issue. If we can't get a recruitment team to find Brendan quality players that we can actually bring in a transfer window when they've been, their job specifically is to look at these players and give up options for Brendan to say yeah or nay to sign. So if there's drastically something wrong if they keep getting in with players and Brendan's rejecting that, there's drastically something wrong with that in that regard. So we shouldn't be signing for the sake of it, but we shouldn't be in that instance to start with. We should be prepared, we should be in there. And Brendan should have a number of players that he considers quality that he can choose for. He can say that I want to go for this one, I want to go for that one. But the way it's sounded just now, it's sounding slightly messy. Even the way Brendan saying, "Oh, there's nothing happening at present." And I know these transfers take time, but there's been a lot of time. So as I said, these things might change over the next kind of 5 or 6 days. Aye, I've said it has to be the right player. It has to be the right player, but these players are only being presented to the manager. That's simple as that. He's come out and says that he's had the options to bring in players, but he's not considered them good enough. So he's come out and says that. So it has to be the right player, but he's not been presented. That's where the problems lie. He's not been presented by the right players to choose what player he wants. So there's still 5 or 6 days left. I'm still kind of hopeful that we can make sure that we bring in the relevant quality so that we make sure that we're winning this league kind of 100%. Will it be a kind of comfortable distance as well? You'd be looking for that. So there's still time left. We've still got 5 or 6 days. He's hoping that next week we've got a lot to speak about, and hopefully Brendan gets the kind of quality that he desires.
Aye, no, I think that's probably a big word, Alan. It's the quality of player that you need to get in. It's got to fit the system. It's got to fit what the manager wants. It's not just that. Is a guy in January going to come in and maybe not get game time? Whoever's going to come is going to be wanting to play as well. Because there's already guys here that are not getting game time, but maybe they want as well. So I'd expect a flurry of players maybe gone as well. Maybe McCarthy, Mikey Johnson on loan, guys like that. Maybe Turnbull on loan. I don't know, but I think there's going to be some sort of wages going out as well, because you can't keep stockpiling. It's already having the squad players, but the squad players who are not going to get game time at all, then they'll need to go elsewhere, because as much as you want a squad, you don't want players getting less developed as well. So they need to go out and obviously get a bit of game time as well. I agree with you as well that if we can't, in my opinion, for the way I look at football as a scouting network or a recruitment team, as soon as the summer's window's done, the manager gets on with the football and stuff, and the recruitment team, and if the board, people seem to think the board are involved. So if that's the way they think it works, then the board need to be in as well. They need to talk to recruitment staff, whatever way people can get works. The recruitment staff need to then look for the summer to January in the next 4 or 5 months. They should be looking at players already. After the first few league games, right, okay, where do we need to strengthen? Who do we need? Who's available? I get that frustration, that should be already looked at, and I'd like to think it already is, because the club size of Celtic and the recruitment team, if we have no ironed out certain players already through the months, then you've got to say, right, end of the season, bye-bye, because that's not good enough for a club like Celtic. There's teams in League One and League Two and signing players, and they're probably ironed them out already. So that stuff we need to do. And I like to think that's what we're doing. I do think, Alan, that in terms of the recruitment staff, again, it's similar to the same recruitment staff that was with Ange, remember. So it's not like you can absolutely do them in right now, because the guys who were here were still with Ange, and they were the guys that brought Ange in, either Nicholson, etc. They helped Ange get the guys in. In my opinion, the board backed Ange blind with money because they didn't know who Maeda was, Hatate, Kyogo. So I've praised him on that to the hilt. I'll praise him. Well done. You've backed the manager. He wanted the guys in and they got them. But now they need to back them as well. If the manager comes and goes, listen, the guy at £5 million, that's what I want. Give me the £5 million. But then the board might go, oh, well, is he going to give his money in the future? Buy on a set. That's the way Celtic work, right? It's the way I don't want it to work. As much as you want to sell on, I know it's a bigger scenario, Alan, right? It's a bigger world out there, right? Bayern Munich, Harry Kane, right? I'm not saying that for us, but they paid £100 million for a 31-year-old to come in and score goals right away. Not to sell him on, not to wait 3 years to develop, not to get a sell-on clause in 2 or 3 years' time. They brought him in to go and win the Champions League, to go and help them win the Bundesliga right now. So I get that frustration by us. We should be signing somebody, I'm not saying that ilk, but to our bracket, just say £5 or £6 million a striker to come in, help Kyogo, go and score goals to win the league, go and to win the Scottish Cup. That's the way I think it should be happening. But at Celtic, that's my frustration with the model, Warren. I love the model domestically, but in terms of either progressing Europe, the model, it's not working because we're not progressing in Europe.
The model is they what? See, I think we're still living on the transfer model for Ange's kind of first season. If you're looking at, I know Matt O'Reilly says that for everything. You're looking at the players that's went, the players that's worth significant value. You're looking at Jota's went. You're looking at Cameron Carter-Vickers, and you're looking at Matt O'Reilly, Rio Hatate. These are all players that Ange signed in his first season. So after that, even the failings of the kind of transfer model and the recruitment team are all clear to see. At the minute, we've paid kind of £3 or £4 million for David Turnbull, and it's criminal that he's going to leave in a couple of months for nothing. That he should either have been kind of moved on in the summer, this window, to kind of recoup some of that might still happen, or he should have been kind of signing a new contract. But this is the amount of investment that we've kind of wasted over the last kind of 18 months. It's quite substantial. And we'd be expecting kind of, we're employing these people in Celtic Football Club. We'd be expecting a kind of higher standard, especially the standards we set in this kind of transfer model. The ones that's kind of made us put a significant amount of money in the bank with sales like Jota, etc. And then it looks probably like Matt O'Reilly in the summer, most likely. So we need to kind of reach the levels again, because at present the players that we've been bringing in, they're not up to that standard that we've seen over kind of Ange's first year. So personally, I'd be looking to see where did we go right in that first year with Ange? Was it just Ange kind of picking out the players? I would doubt that because of the kind of scouting system with Matt O'Reilly. That's somewhere that probably Ange wasn't too familiar with. I get it with the kind of players for Asia, but you're looking at, we've picked up Matt O'Reilly for £1.5 million. He's going to possibly kind of break the Scottish transfer record in the summer. So that's the kind of, we need to look back on that stage in Ange's first year. What were we doing there? Where were we looking there? How was that so kind of successful? Because at the minute, it's not been successful for the last kind of three transfer windows, and I think that's clear for everybody to see.
Again, Alan, we can't keep you back on what Ange's done because it's a different manager. And Ange is probably the only manager in a long time that where things get done quick. Was that due to Ange being quick and saying, listen, I want him in by next week, I want him in by this, get it done? Who knows? That's the way it might have looked. But in terms of the way we've worked in the past, it's kind of the same the way it's working. So then I can see they might blame the board. Then it might be the recruitment staff are going to blame. Who do you blame? Who knows? It's probably a combination of different things. But yes, we should have more in by now at the moment. But In terms of the panic stuff, I wouldn't just yet. I would wait to the end of the window, then decide if you want to praise, criticise, or your choice of words. Then I can say that's where I can say that's the best thing to do.
We can't judge at the present. We can't judge at present. Everything I'm saying here, I'm concerned at present. I'm sitting on the fence at the minute because I'm hopeful that we will bring in the necessary quality before the transfer window shuts. But if this is the situation when the transfer shuts in February the 1st, then I think there'll be massive questions asked because the way it sits at present, I think as fans, including yourself, probably JP as well, we would have been expecting kind of a lot more activity with regards to us strengthening with quality than what we've seen so far with one player coming in.
You're saying it about bargain basement players, maybe in terms of the transfer fee. Kyogo was a bit of money plunge as well. He knew about these guys, so he's bringing in guys that he knew and trusted. It's not like he was bringing them out the cold to us.
Alistair Johnston as well was like 3 million, 3.5 million. It wasn't buttons.
People forget as well, Ange did buy a bit of guff. Gucci was one. Don't get wrong. The journalist I spoke to, Dan Horowitz, when they signed, he did say that he was maybe the one that might not do well, but the other guys will do well, so it's all right. And to fair to Dan, he was spot on. And everything he said about the players, I'll give Dan a massive heads up for that. It was fantastic what he told me. Everything was spot on about them. He says Kyogo had tied to my head, I'd be coming into the team right away and play. Gucci and might need a bit of time to settle. And he was spot on. Again, in terms of some of the guys who didn't, Abelgard come in, didn't do well with Gucci.
That's a ban.
So he has spent a bit of money, didn't work either, but that's every manager. The reason why Andrew's getting praised is because of how good the football was and how good the impact these players made. Similar to Brendan when he first came in. I think Brendan only signed Sinclair and Dembele and then Cham, is that right? 3 players when he first came in? And Toure, 3 or 4 players worth a lot, maybe 2 or 3 players worth a bit of money.
It's not just about the kind of the way we played under Ange. You're looking at that kind of see the ratio of success stories with the players that he brought in the kind of first year. And this is not, as I mentioned to Matt O'Reilly, it's not just about Ange. Obviously, the recruitment team was doing something differently because the success rate you're looking at, see off the top of my head, you're looking at it was probably about a 70% success rate. You're looking at the players that brought in because the majority of them were doing pretty well. But you're looking at kind of the last 3 or 4 transfer windows, and then that's where you're seeing that success rate massively drop. As I say, you're looking at success the new for the summer. You're picking kind of 2 or 3 players out of that are successes out of 9 or 10 that we brought in. So that should drop the kind of 30% ratio when we're looking at that for before. So it's not just about Ange, it's about what were the recruitment team doing at that point? Well, when we looked in the world, were we just lucky? Was it a different...
Lucky.
Was it? That's what the questions we need to ask. Was it lucky? Was it certain places where we were looking? Were we looking at certain criteria? But what was it? Neither of us will know that, but you've obviously seen the drop-off in success rates in the players. The success rate in the players that were brought in during that kind of 12 to 18 months in Ange's tenure to now the last kind of 12 to 18 months, and it's dropped off kind of significantly. And I think it's there for everybody to see. So it's just how we get back to kind of get the quality for the kind of price that we're going to pay. We need to be employing, the guys need to be, they're employed to do that, so they need to kind of find the diamond in the rough, the kind of gem that's not been quite polished yet. So we need to make sure that we're bringing in these players, and that's the only way that the transfer model is going to progress and be successful. Because barring the first couple of years, you're struggling to see anybody that we've brought in is going to make that significant amount of money, apart from Carter Vickers or Matt O'Reilly, possibly Hattati.
And Sheila, there's a few comments in the chat as well, but maybe us getting lucky and stuff. you can get lucky with maybe one player, but the fact you've signed 3 or 4 absolute really top quality players for decent value, that's good recruitment and good management that knows what you're signing. But I do get it that sometimes you do get the odd lucky one for like 500 grand or something. For me, guys like Yang and Telio, for me, were maybe already options before Ange left, because I think that for me, every position is probably 4 or 5 options now. And if you don't get the top man, you go for the second. You can't get the second, you go for the third or the fourth, whatever. And that's not what you want either. What Brendan might be saying was, they've given me maybe 4 options, 5 options at every position that I want. The first guy I can't get, he's maybe too expensive, or he's not maybe somebody I don't want. Maybe the second not good enough, and maybe the third's just no up to it. Goes for I can't sign him. So that maybe goes to the recruitment staff and looking the manager or the players that he thinks are good enough. Which it goes to, why would you sign somebody just for us to go, yes, we've got 2 or 3 players in, brilliant, we've spent money, we've got wages spent, brilliant, but then you turn out to be absolutely dross. So you've got to balance it out. I would rather we sign nobody else than took in that an absolute massive gamble than guys we don't know that could come in and be nothing, could just sit there, pick up a wage, but flip it, I'd rather we sign one more that's real quality, you know what you're signing, and it adds to the team. You might want just a striker. I'd probably say a striker Alan, to help. No, just to help Kyogo, to challenge a wee man. People think that Kyogo's the standard bearer, that he's going to be him every single week. You can always look to buy better. Maybe no always in January, but Kyogo's not the best striker that we can possibly get. You can always go and get somebody else. There's always somebody else out there. There's talent everywhere. Be that if it's Scandinavia or if it's Poland, wherever else. It's all about doing your scouting properly and making sure you know what you're buying. Kyogo, by all accounts, is the best striker in Scotland by a mile. He's quality, he's a goal scorer, and he's very, very good. But just because you've got one here doesn't mean you can't go and get more. Look at Celtic. We had Commons, we had Hooper, we had Stokes, and the 3 of them can score goals. And they can alternate them. Commons can play as a 10, he can play it wide. If possible, he can play up front. Stokes was the same. Hooper was normally playing every week, but if Hooper was missing, he still had Stokes to play. Especially in Scotland, he still had a goal scorer. So I think we've not got that. I don't think we've got that. If Kyle goes out, you're thinking, right, Big O's all right, maybe against Ross County or something, but if you're going against, maybe going to Ibrox with Big O, are you going to be confident? I don't know. Probably no. So you need Kyogo to play. So like you says, if we don't get a striker in January, then I think the manager's going to pick and choose when he plays Kyogo. Does he play him in the lesser games? Or does he play him in the top games? Or does he decide to just go, I'll go gung-ho and play him? I think that's when the management will come across. But I think for me, Alan, I think it just looks like he's maybe been given assurances either by the recruitment team or by the board that he's maybe going to get this and get that, and just yet it's not happened yet. So I think the big better of how he's feeling will be after the window and what we've done. Then I think you'll maybe see some of his match slipping, and then his opinion might come across in the pressers, because let's be fair, Alan, you can't hide it when you're pissed off. You can't hide your face. Your face tells you when you're not happy. And we've seen a few pressers, you've not been happy. So, but I don't feel on that, mate. But I do feel that some of the signings before he came in were already maybe on the list of Ange.
Aye, no, just to clear up what I was saying, Lucky, it was just the kind of comparison to how well we've done previously to where we're sitting the last kind of few transfer windows. We don't know the reasoning behind it, so I was just kind of coming up with examples. What exactly is it? What's the difference? Because there's obviously a disparity on the players we've brought in previously to the players that we'll be bringing in just now. They're not succeeding as much as the ones previously. So we definitely need to get to the root of the problem, because going on that interview today with Brendan as well, I think some of the body language, he did look slightly frustrated. I don't know if that's just my opinion, but he was kind of delaying in some of the answers as well, or we might have some in. But as I say, we can't take kind of full judgment on the performance of the recruitment team or Celtic as a whole with bringing in transfers until kind of the 1st of February. So we're obviously sitting here, we're hopeful that we do get kind of significant business over over the line. I'm on kind of agreement with yourself that I would rather kind of one player come in, see if it was a kind of significant striker to be brought in, somebody that we knew could properly challenge Kyogo. I would rather pay that kind of 5-6 million for that kind of player rather than sign another kind of 3 or 4. We do need to make sure that the quality's there, and we need to be sure of that. But my problem and point being is that is 6 or 7 months no enough time to make sure of that? Is that I know enough time to gather in all the information, do your homework, do all the necessary kind of digging around how much it's going to be, is the player going to be interested? These guys are working kind of day in, day out in this field, and that's mostly their only kind of objective is to bring in players that the manager feels it's necessary. So if these people in the recruitment team, whoever they may be, are doing their job correctly for 6 or 7 months, we should be in a position that we're able to offer up quality kind of options towards the manager so that he can pick. But at present, the manager's only seen one of the kind of options as feasible, only one of the options that he's taken up, and that's the worrying, concerning part for me. That's the worrying, concerning part for me that we've not done all our homework, done all the necessary digging at present. So we're looking into these last kind of 5 days of the transfer window, worrying if we are going to bring in anybody else that's going to strengthen our kind of first 11, more importantly, but our squad for the kind of the end to a very important season.
I think as well that the managers or the recruitment team, they're probably lucky as well that Kyogo's not been called up. Because what's the plan then if he was called up? Did they have a plan for that, or is it because he was no called up that they thought, right, okay, we'll maybe no get a top striker, we'll just wait to the end of the window and see how we go. So again as well, Alan, again, touch wood that we go and get a result on Saturday. But if you didn't, then I think the transfer activity would be ramped up as well. So it all goes on in the results as well. If they're winning games, the manager might go, oh, well, maybe we won't need maybe one player. But just overall, the consensus for me, Alan, is see on social media, see the consensus I'm getting is it's like the team needs major surgery. It doesn't need major surgery. It needs a bit of quality added to it. But from some of the tweets I've seen today, you would think we need major surgery. You would think we need a left back, a striker, a goalkeeper. Ready free now, right? Ideally, a goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper wait till the summer. Joe Hart's fine at the end of the season. Benji Siegrist, in my opinion, is all right to come in and play against your Ross Counties or something. Scott Bain probably isn't he, but he's there and he's on. The manager thinks he's good enough. So, but overall, mate, I don't know what you feel overall. Right, Oscar. I don't know what you feel overall, but the consensus for me is, mate, don't panic just yet. Wait to the end of the window and then criticise or praise or whatever you feel about the board. I get the fact about Greg Taylor, as Joe says. Joe says there, if they two get injured, you're needing a bit more quality in terms of that. So that's the two I think need an Ireland by the end of the window is they two, because if we don't and they get injured, then I can see the frustration and a wee bit of right, okay, here what's going on. So don't we feel the last bit, mate? Don't we feel on that?
I think obviously we've read a lot of the stuff kind of on social media and Twitter. I think some of it could be kind of over the top, to say the least. I'm nowhere near that kind of stage where we tearing apart the board to the degree that I've read and seen over the last few days. But I still believe that we should be kind of aiming higher than we are at present. We should expect more for the recruitment team, whether that be the board, the recruitment team, whoever's involved in it, right? But I think we should be expecting more and looking for more. That has to be the quality that Brendan specified. But I think if everybody had to rate the kind of transfer window at a 10 at the minute, you wouldn't be, if it ended like this, you wouldn't be putting high marks in for the the amount of business or quality of business that we've done up to present. Even when I mentioned that people like Turnbull, if we're not getting a new contract, then we need to make sure that we're bringing in kind of some sort of fee for them. You're looking at the players that are getting wages that could leave as well, like you've said, like McCarthy, even kind of Bernabe, Seagrass, Bale, whatever one of them was to leave. There is a number of players that are kind of taking up some of the money that could be used better elsewhere. So again, I completely agree with you. I wouldn't go as overcooked on the comments that I've seen on Twitter kind of the last few days. I think they can be a bit over the top. So let's just kind of wait and see. There is 5 days left in the window, whatever that may be. And February the 1st, I'm sure we'll have a podcast and we'll make sure that we describe exactly what we've seen for the transfer business for the club. So let's try and end on a wee positive note and be positive, and hopefully we know that there's going to be 1 or 2 quality players be coming in the next kind of few days or so.
But talk about quality. I know a guy that can come in and be quality. Look at him. Look at that, by the way. That's I must admit, that's sensational. Look at me boots and everything. It's the boots that do it for me, Alan. I think the boots are fantastic, man.
I don't know.
Sign them up.
George Michael.
But if you don't know about this is a sponsor of the podcast. If you're new to the podcast, thanks for tuning in. Again, thanks for all your comments tonight. I try to get through as much as I can. We do really appreciate your comments and tuning in. This podcast is sponsored by AB Entertainment. It's a Mr. Alex Beveridge. It's an entertainment company. The number is on the screen. That is his WhatsApp, and that is the best way to ideally get him. The number is 07845 746 092. That is 07845 746 092. Alex has got his diary right open now. He's got a few spaces left for January and obviously going forward. He was very busy at the Christmas time there, so if you do want to get Christmas parties put in at the moment for later in the year, then you can get him on that number. You can get him on his TikTok, Instagram, Facebook as well. Just type in Alex Beveridge or AB Entertainment and you'll get him on all social media platforms. If you don't want to contact Alex personally, you can contact us, myself, Alan and JP, are on Twitter, or you can contact the Facebook page of the podcast, Twitter page of the podcast, TikTok page of the podcast, or you can comment in the community section under any previous posts. Alex does do bingo, he does karaoke, he does special birthdays, liquidation parties, as we all know, but he does any sort of party that you can think of. He will be very accommodating. If you do want a great night, get Alex on board and he will sort you out. If you do mention the podcast or quote the podcast that you have seen it from the podcast, Alex will, I like to think, he'll give you a massive discount. So if you do want an entertainment package, Alex is your man. But again, Alan, it's been good to chat to you tonight, mate. Obviously, we'll be back Monday night, usual time, 8:30. We'll be back. Obviously, me and JP's away the weekend, and Alan's obviously get stuff planned as well for himself. So there'll be no podcast over the weekend, but there will be one on Monday. Hopefully, we're reacting to a 3-point victory and win against Ross County, Alan. But until then, mate, take care and hail, hail.
Hail, hail.